Hi, today I'll show you my pros and cons in studies during pandemic. Let us start with the pros first. I could learn by myself because I started to be independent when I was in grade 7. I always do my projects and homeworks without help from anybody, even our family. I really look forward to studying alone because I don't want to bother anyone with my own work. I love learning by myself because I want to be in a quiet place and I can focus if it's too crowded. There is not much group work, but I am the type of student who does not like group work. In my whole high school life, I am always the leader when it comes to group work. I always do work and reporting, not because my members are useless. Actually, you know what? They kinda is, but I'm still thankful that I got to work with them. It's just that I once trusted my members, then the next day, he did not bring the necessary materials, and he was not ready for reporting. And of course, when it comes to group work, you all have to be good because what your members' grade are will also be your grades. So when one does not answer, you all fail. Ever since that day, I learned my lesson that when your studies are really important to you, you will not depend on others. Plus, I'm also not a sociable person. I'm an introvert, so I love working by myself or my close friends. I have a lot of time. I don't even have to wake up too early just to go to school. Ever since I was in grade 9, I always wake up around 3 to 4 a.m. so I can ride public vehicles in 5 to 6 a.m. because our province is too far from my school. So it takes 40 minutes to 1 hour drive just to get to school, depending on the type of vehicle you will choose. Some of them are fast, but most of them are slow. Now with the pandemic, I can wake up late to attend school. We have attendance every morning and afternoon, so I don't have to wake up every 3 to 4 a.m. I can eat anytime I want since I am a modular. My teachers can see me eating. Unlike at school, I really have to wait for our lunch break and recess just so I can eat. They are very strict when it comes to classroom rules, so it's good now that I can drink and eat well because I can't have breakfast every morning when I used to go to school because of the long trip, so I force myself to just eat in the afternoon instead. But now I can eat anytime I want, especially because I'm always hungry, although I don't gain weight. More school works than modular today. I'll admit that our study is easier now for me. It was more haggard when I was in class than now that I'm a modular. I can spend more time with my brother. I used to have a boarding house when I was still in school, so my older brother and I were separated. And since we grew up together, it was painful for me that I could only be with him often. Even though we only have one school, our department is still different, so we still don't meet even at school. My older brother also has his own boarding house, but unlike me, I love to go home in our province, so I always don't get to spend time with my older brother every weekdays. On weekends, it is also difficult since we still live for school purposes. My brother is the only family I can be with now, so I love spending my time with him. I don't really like school much. It's not that I hate studying, no. It's just that I have school problems. I only have a few real friends to be happy at school. I focus a lot on my studies so I don't become like my peers who are happy. I'm more matured for my own age, so I have a hard time communicating just to make friends. All my teachers like me because of my grades, but I still don't feel satisfied. I feel like I'm not happy because of my good grades. I feel like I'm sad because I never experienced being free in high school like my classmates do. I do not participate in their parties because I study. Sometimes I also do not participate in their trips because since I'm busy studying. Now that I have only 2 years left in my high school life, I feel like I regret that I did not experience the real fun in high school. They are right. Repentance is always at the end. So that's all for my pros. Now let's go to my cons. I can learn by myself, yes, but it does not mean that I do not have difficulties. I have capabilities, limitations, and boundaries. So even though I can do self-study, there are times when I am confused about a topic, especially because I am a STEM student. I know I'm stupid in mathematics, but I still took the STEM course to achieve my dream of becoming an architect. I do all I can so that I can learn math and so that I can caught up with their topics. I often find it difficult to study, especially because I do not ask for help even when I need it. But I still do everything for my grades and for my future. There's not much group work, but now that there's a pandemic, I kinda miss it where there's still group work. The type where you go to school to practice and to actually do works, but when it comes to school, instead of doing works, you just roam and have fun. Yes, I miss those days, even though it's stressful because it is difficult to be a leader, I still miss it. I also miss hanging out with my classmates. I have a lot of time, but I miss those times when I used to wake up too early just to go to school. I always love riding jeepneys even though the trip is long. I would always choose jeepneys instead of van or bus. My mom would always tell me to ride a van so that I could get home faster, but still, I don't follow sometimes because I just really love riding jeepneys. I love smelling the fresh air, love how friendly Filipino passengers are, and I love looking at the natures. It feels so good and relaxing that every time I came home tired from school, I can still smile just riding in a jeep. I can eat anytime I want, but still, I can't eat at the right time. Like I eat breakfast every 11 p.m., then lunch every 3 to 4 p.m., and dinner at 11 to 12 a.m. That's because I don't eat with my family. Just like I said in my first video, I think I eat better and at the right time when I'm at school. Even if I always eat at a restaurant, at least it is at the right time, unlike here. More works in school, but more works now because of the modules. Plus, I think it's better that I'm in school. We all have our problems about our studies this year, and I'm one of them. Doesn't mean that we can afford to spend, we have no problem. That's why I chose to be modular instead of online student because since I only live in a small province, don't expect a strong signal here. No. Actually, the internet is so weak here in our area that even with Wi-Fi, it is still unavailable. So in order for me to take the exam, I have to work hard to find the signal. And then my other problems is printing and passing my modules in school. There are no stores here in our barangay. I mean, there are but for foods only. So when there's need to print, I go to another barangay just to go to the computer shop. And passing my modules is the hardest because the city is far from us. It usually takes an hour to get to school, and since our school is strict, you really need to be on time to pass. I don't like school, but I prefer school instead of here. We all have our own problems. I have school problems, but my problems at home are worse. I don't want to talk about it, but I just want to tell you that going to school is my way to escape. It's not about the chores at home, so I don't want to be at home anymore. No, I love doing chores because it reduces my time, but I would always choose school than at home. You see, even the best part has the worst one. I was one of those people who wanted to get an academic freeze then, but now I'm kinda happy that even though the situation is difficult, I can still get up. I'm happy that the class will continue even though we are all having a hard time because it is for our future. I love learning even though it is tiring. I still love to learn new things, and you should feel the same. We all have our own problems, sometimes worse than others, but we shouldn't compare to others. We should not compare who has more serious problem. Instead, let's help each other. It doesn't mean that you see them in good fit, they have no problem. Remember that a problem is not choosing anyone. It is us who chooses it. Whether you are rich or not, whether you have a house or not, we are all equal when it comes to problems. It is not about uplifting and pitifulness. It's to challenge us in our path. It is given to us so that we can be strong in the future, so that we can become aware of reality. No students must be left behind. Let's all rise together.